My name is Chris Hawkins and I work as a partner engineer at Facebook. Basically, I work on the Instant Games team and I help Instant Games developers build instant games for the Facebook platform. So we have a pretty vested interest in this area. A lot of you probably know about our legacy games platform, Facebook Web Games, previously Canvas, that's been around for many, many years and still generates quite a bit of revenue for a lot of developers as well as ourselves. That's one of our interests in this, but instant games is sort of where we're at now, and that's our mobile-first platform, runs within the Facebook app, and we're building out that product and that content catalog pretty quickly. I'm, to be honest, going to be a lot here to just sort of listen and learn. You're taking me away from my notes, so the presentation could get... I can try and wing it though. I'm mostly here to sort of listen and learn. The developers themselves, many of whom are going to speak, are closer to the stuff, closer to this tech than I am. But I did want to spend some time to sort of highlight our view of the world, some of the major problems we see, and where we sort of want to see help. But first, I just wanted to introduce Instant Games in case people aren't aware. Basically, we're an HTML5 games platform inside Facebook. The games themselves run in a web view, and we have messaging between the Facebook native app and the web view. And we basically split up the responsibility between the web view, which looks after pretty much the game, and the Facebook app, which looks after a lot of the platform level stuff, like authentication. We use it to show ads, in-app purchases with Google Play on Android, and any sort of platform UI, so friend selectors and things like that. It usually feels a little bit better if they're native because the user's already in the native app. We rely on the web view for all the graphics. We're not doing any sort of intermediary fancy stuff there. We rely on basically all the web APIs for input, audio, etc. And we host those games for our users on our CDN. So to sort of eliminate some of the challenges with hosting content and getting content out there. I basically see there's two sets of problems that we have as a platform. There are problems that I think are pretty much on us and our responsibility to solve, and those include things like getting our developers to be able to monetize effectively. And I know that's been a pain point in the HTML5 space for a long time, and it's still a pain point today. And that's something that we want to solve for our developers by allowing them to monetize via ads and IAP where possible. We also want to be able to allow players to be able to share those games, so those games can spread virally through a social network, and that's kind of our wheelhouse. That's our strength. We're never going to be a great single-player game platform because the app stores are probably usually going to do that better than us, but because of discovery, curation, other types of things that we don't invest as much in. And we also want to make sure that we have a sort of a trusted platform where users can sort of come to our platform and know that their games are trustworthy and have access to sort of the minimum amount of data that they can. But there's also a group of problems that we need a lot of help with and we can't solve by ourselves, and that's why I'm really here today, is to talk to everyone here and work with you guys on some of these. As we all know, and a lot of this won't be new to anyone here because you've been in the space, but getting high fidelity games is pretty challenging in HTML5 today. There's a whole bunch of restrictions around performance. Your device gets pretty hot. Like battery life and device temperature have been real issues for us as we try to build out this platform. We also, on Instant Games, we have a platform that is very, very popular through Southeast Asia and South America. And both of those are areas where a lot of the devices are not the devices that we might have here, and they're lower end Android devices, and they sort of experience all these challenges at twice the rate that we would see them on other devices. And finally, and I think one's going to come up a bit today, and I don't have a good solution for it, but I'm hoping that together we can come up with something, and that's around this idea of being able to protect assets in games better. One of the great things about the web is it's super open. Sometimes that sort of sucks if you're a developer. You've invested time and money into building these beautiful assets, and they get ripped off and distributed somewhere else. So some of the specific things I sort of wanted to highlight to sort of kick off the day, and I think we'll start to hear echoes of this through some of the later talks as well. It's difficult to sort of infer device capabilities and sort of what sort of device you're operating on. This is a challenge for a lot of our developers who tend to load up texture memory and end up crashing the web view. crashing the web view crashes the Facebook app for us in instant games. We don't run the web view out of process yet. We're thinking about it, but we can't. If there's going to be a crash, we're not actually sure that just crashing the web view is that much of a better user experience than crashing the whole app. We know that instant games statistically raises the crash rate of Facebook. Like people who play instant games crash more. Web views aren't at feature parity with browsers necessarily, and there's some exceptions to this. But generally speaking, things like we would love to be able to use, for example, service workers in web views. User media and streams is another feature that we would love to be able to use. Like web views versus browsers, we understand that we want, in some ways, especially when we're talking about the web, to focus on the browser. But there are some nice things about the web view. When you're a hosted platform, you don't have to browser Chrome. It's a much more immersive experience. So that's something that we really want to push in this space. And then again, IP protection for game developers. We also think there's a lot of work to be done sort of caching and loading assets intelligently. Game loading is just like murder on games. The longer games take to load, the faster people churn. We have some pretty insane stats. Something like 12% people a second will abandon a game while it's loading, which is pretty insane. As WebAssembly becomes more popular and more supported, actually being able to debug it and have better tools around that is something that I think we'd love to see as well. So that's sort of my summary. As I said, I think a lot of this will be echoed throughout the day, and I think a lot of our developers will have some next level of detail on some of these things and maybe propose some solutions. But I just wanted to kick it off with a high-level overview of where we see the world at the moment. Thanks.